people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Good evening and welcome to another day of draft. It's another day to fulfill our social responsibility to the liberation of our freedom. Today we draft for Buye.
No one will give us our Ambazonia if we don't work for it. Drafting is one easy way to do so. Last week we drafted Kupane 1 in Guba County, KMC, and it was a success. We will be having representatives from Buye today. But first, let's bring the recap from this week.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Alright, so for the recap today, let's start with the story. A young southern Cameroonian have been shot point blank by a colonial Republic of Cameroon soldier for keeping a short dread style. Now, this incident took place in Bafut local government area on Thursday, September 1st, 2022. Now, Undaunted gathered that this recent victim of human rights violation is a commercial motorcycle rider and has never been part of their self-defense volunteers group. Also, Bafut, it's a Midland state of southern Cameroon where the self-defense volunteer group start serving Qatar are mounting a strong resistance against the invading La Republique du Cameroon military.
And according to CNA of Umfo Hansen on Facebook, a newborn was discovered on Friday, September 2nd, 2022, about around the Mbengui grandstand of Momo County, and the baby was wrapped in a loin in plastic, then abandoned in a nearby bush. Crying from the baby in the bush alerted passers-by, who called the attention of security forces. Gendarmes took the baby from the bush and to the district hospital. Let's see this video before we move on into social media.
Baleda.
Merde. Elle a couché là, c'est moi, j'étais.
Arrête un peu. Mon arme, c'est là.
Ça, c'est pas possible. On peut avec. On a le ça. Ça, c'est un ministre. Merde. C'est terrible. Merde. Ah, c'est même un lâché. C'est un nouveau né, non? Un nouveau né.
Mec, cucut.
Merde. Ah, Seigneur.
Mec, cucut.
Retourne la voiture là, ça repart.
C'est pas possible.
Now on social media, a lot of people condemn the mother of this child for dumping the baby in the bush, but then there were other different, diverse perspectives to the story, as we had our news director, Tarapati King, on Facebook, reacting a different way to this story, saying, most definitely the whole consequences of the war is what resulted to this baby being dumped in the bush.
All right, and we also had another story that talked about cement producers. Now, the colonial ministers of commerce, Luke Maglo Mbaga and Tangana, on September 1st, 2022, invited cement producers to lower their prices. Now, the communique signed precise that Mira SA has the best price tag as it sells cement type 42.5R is now sold in Douala at 4,800 francs CFA. The bag of 50 kg instead of 5,100 francs CFA. The consumer price of the same product is francs CFA is 5,100 in Yaoundé instead of 5,400 francs CFA. Now, a drop of CFAF 300 as well. This makes an overall drop of 400 francs CFA in this category of cement rather. Now, as for type 32.5R cement, it cost 4,100 francs CFA in Douala instead of 4,600 francs CFA previously. The same cement cost the consumer 4,400 francs CFA per bag in Yaoundé instead of 4,900 francs CFA previously. Now, this means a wholesale reduction of 500 francs CFA in this category of cement.
Now, in the course of the week, we brought you a breaking news from the court case, and we had an observer who has this to say. He says, can you imagine the thieves filed a motion asking the court to dismiss the case brought by Ambazonian Foundation and ABC Corporation on grounds, jurisdiction, and the judge said, Ngang. When it comes to financial fraud, the laws are tight. Just so you know, Coopers filed a writ for the ongoing litigation in Baltimore, but the case was rejected. What they surely ignored was the fact that they did not only commit a crime against the peoples of Amazonia by stealing more meant to enhance home front and humanitarian activities, they also committed a crime in the United States, and which qualifies as a felony. The U.S. doesn't really take financial and wire frauds lightly.
All right, so we also got you this report that says for 77 years, Ambazonians have come and gone since the creation of the Union of Nations in the pursuit of peace, but from the vintage point of an Ambazonian, it says we are still wondering if it was a curse to some or a blessing. With just a few days to go until the opening of the 77 season of the UN General Assembly, the UN diplomat community as well as residents of New York City are bracing for the annual arrival of heads of states and governments from around the world after 2 years of disruption brought by COVID-19.
Now let's look at this press release we got you in the course of the week, written in French from La République du Cameroun, but we will translate in English, and it reads, The President of the Republic is authorizing a detachment of special forces to be sent to the northwest and southwest regions. These are forces which have been trained by France for the past 2 years. They are all stationed in Yaoundé. 200 have been sent to fight Boko Haram, 200 will be sent to the northwest region, and 200 to the southwest region. If you heard correctly, the report says the troops are to fight Boko Haram, but an observer on ground saw that towards evening, in his remarks, he saw La République du Cameroon military as they went to the food market in Bamenda. While passing to their base at the airport, they stopped many cars and took all the car documents and went with them. Are these cars Boko Haram? That was one of the questions we asked. Is there some data collection going on? And were residents in Bamenda informed ahead of this?
Right to the news that broke the word during the week. Says on Thursday, the 8th of September, we lost the Queen of England at the ripe age of 96. What was the Queen's relationship with the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia? Now, the Queen, of course, has veto power. She can ratify and can object to policies, foreign as well as domestic policies. So if the Queen does not speak about something, it is just but right to conclude that the Queen conspired, right? Because the leader of France at the time made a statement in French to mean in English, and I quote it, "The Queen of England has given to us a small gift," which could be said to be the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. If not, what else could be the small gift? In fact, what the colonial government is called today Limbe, which is Victoria, is a place that was named by Alfred Saka. That is a British missionary in Ambazonia. The Saka Baptist College in Victoria has been renamed by the colonial government.
All right, now moving on with the stories from this week. A private car marked Toyota RAV4 has been set ablaze by armed men believed to be amber fighters Tuesday, August 6, 2022 on mile 13, Santa. The occupants of the vehicle are nowhere to be found and the car is completely burned down to ashes. Those at the neighborhood of the incident confessed to have heard gunshots and could not dare to check what was happening. They only got hours later to find the car being consumed by flames.
All right, so it was another day of shock in Ambazonia, precisely in the equatorial zone on the road leading to Kumba from Muntengene. About some persons shot to death and several wounded in a Golden Star travel agency bus. Now, this is the situation the people of Southern Cameroon are compelled to live with. It is now common to get up in the morning and see a corpse by the roadside in Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Meanwhile, in another story, Moja is struggling to survive. Now, let's get this report by Gab Ellison.
The notorious controversial chief of Bosa village in Boya local government area, who doubles as an element of the colonial La République du Cameroon's elite force, the Rapid Intervention Battalion, BIRU, was involved in an accident in Boya, September 7, 2022. An eyewitness conferred to Undaunted that Moja's car lost brakes while descending the hill around the colonial governor's office, causing him to crash into an electric pole at a roundabout. He was immediately rushed to the Boya Regional Hospital while car was still parked at the scene of the accident spot. Being an element of the colonial La République du Cameroon forces, the scene where the accident took place was flooded with military elements who strictly prohibited the use of phones in the vicinity, and phones were not allowed in order to stop people from taking pictures, since he works for the colonial government to fight against the separatists. Senator Mbella Moki arrived at the scene shortly after the accident occurred to confirm. Moja is notorious for constantly torturing youths in the Atlantic Zone in the name of fighting separatist fighters. He has most often than not taken the law into his hands. One notable incident was his torture of a pregnant woman who ended up being sent to jail while her torturer walked free, and this woman finally gave birth in prison. Moja's excesses are known and encouraged by the authorities, given that the Prime Minister once cautioned him to order, but he never stopped, and it also exposes the powerlessness of the Prime Minister's presence in La République du Cameroon. Human rights lawyers, led by Barrister Tamfu, has expressed the desire to make the ruler and soldier pay for his numerous acts of torture and assaults against civilians in Buea and other parts of the southwest region of Cameroon. He says his attention has been brought to a number of videos wherein Chief Moja Moja is seen intimidating, torturing, maiming and assaulting innocent civil Cameroonian citizens for no good reason. To the best of my knowledge, this guy is a military personnel of the Cameroon army and a chief of a certain village. We cannot continue to sit back watching this guy unleashing terror and acts of violence on innocent civilians with impunity, stated Barrister Tamfu. He adds that in a recent video, he saw Chief Moja Moja kicking a young man into his car boot. It is not clear what awaits this young man, nor certain that the young man is still alive or dead. Barrister Tamfu: I will be leading a criminal complaint against this Chief Moja Moja in the days ahead, with other human rights advocates and lawyers. It is more than time we make him pay for his crimes before a court of law. I will teach him that no one is above the law in Cameroon and that no one can take the laws into their hands, as he does with all impunity. The responsibility of the Republic of Cameroon in protecting the life and property of its citizens is put in jeopardy by Chief Moja Moja, Barrister Tamfu notes. Moja Moja, who is being described as a licensed human rights violator and xenophobe, late last year targeted a 30-year-old pregnant woman, Antoinette Kangzo Gola, who alongside her 2 children was dragged from her husband's house in Sanpete, Buea, tortured, paraded along the streets, and later handed to gendarmes. He has on several occasions accosted, tortured, and disfigured many young people in Buea under the pretext of hunting separatists fighting for an independent state called Ambazonia. As we peruse through social media, it becomes clear to Moja Moja insensitivity has probably been a turn-off to Ambazonians. Comments and reactions show that people will prefer Moja Moja's end. Gab Ellison reporting for Undaunted, ABC Amba News.
Alright, now speaking of the death of the Queen, who died at a very ripe age of 96, we had this tweet from the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And the President of Ambazonia, President Sacco, has aired his thoughts through a tweet. It says, Queen Elizabeth, dead 60 years after presiding over our enslavement to French Cameroon, a lost opportunity for this architect of our demise to help Southern Cameroons now at the verge of total annihilation.
All right, it wasn't just the president who also aired his thoughts. We also have Heybert Bow. He also aired his thoughts through a tweet as well. And he said, Queen Elizabeth died at 96, while Ambazonia mourns but regrets that 70 years proved short to find guilt and humanity to apologize for the savage conquest, looting, destruction of nations, the enslaving, massacre, and exploiting of millions. Well, it's quite amazing that not just Ambazonia, but so many other Commonwealth nations had a lot to say negative. And I was wondering, were they just waiting for the Queen to die before they aired their thoughts? All right, well, we'll continue with the rest of the recap stories. Well, Ambazonian parents have threatened to withdraw their children from schools should La Republique du Cameroon colonial governor of the Northern Zone, Lily Afrik, insist on sharing the colonial La Republique du Cameroon flags to their children. The school resumption atmosphere was tense on Tuesday, September 6, 2022, in Bamenda local government area, when some parents who accompanied their siblings to school for the start of the 2022-2023 school year met with the colonial governor and the La Republique du Cameroon colonial administrators with flags to share to the children. Star, what do you have to say?
The question will be, what is behind such a decision from a moribund colonial administration to share flags of an antagonized country on foreign land if it is not like another ploy to tell the whole world that La Republique du Cameroon, the occupier and oppressor, is still in control? Well, we have flags become some of the didactic materials that these children, who lack even benches, classrooms, pens, and even exercise books to read, have flags instead in place of these things. Will the flags replace the colossal PTA fees or levies that have sent many children out of schools? Well, we'll just move on with the rest of the recap.
Exactly. Well, that question is begging for answers, and of course, the school season has resumed, and we definitely would get more reports from there. Meanwhile, we have the story here. The rainy season came with a whole lot of flood. Of course, we know it's a period whereby the lapses with the planning of the towns and cities are exposed. Some of the usual challenge in the rainy season is dealing with floods, like I mentioned earlier. Now, the situation is worse with the equatorial states of southern Cameroon that are around the Atlantic Ocean. Though floods can be accused to nature, human actions can equally be a promoting factor to floods. The usual human action promoting floods in southern Cameroon is poor town planning and the dumping of plastics on water runways. Stakeholders charged with the responsibility of planning the layout of towns and cities have failed and are still failing in the planning of the towns and cities in the southern Cameroon. Let's see this video.
My four limbe, hey. My four limbe, hey.
All right, so welcome back. I'm sure that you're all ready to draft for Bui. Before we get into Bui proper or the overview of Bui, let's see what a Field Marshal in Cebu's report. Now, we was able to mobilize and inspire Ambazonia fighters. That's talking about Field Marshal in Cebu. And during his reign, Bui County was a death trap for the French Cameroon forces of occupation.
Yeah, Field Marshal in Cebu was eminent, and that is why he was a major target. Say, reason colonial forces used in-house enablers under the Unity warrior guise to kill him. While La Republic du Cameroon was fighting in Cebu, we also had enablers disguised as restoration forces fighting him as well. Until now that we speak, Bui County is one of the hottest places in Ambazonia because every day we see images of Bui County resisting the forces of occupation.
All right, just in case you didn't know, Bui County is a neighbor to Ungakentuja County with a strong relationship between the restoration forces in both counties. So these two counties happen to be facing the same challenges. They have the record of blowing most of the armored cars that will come from Yaoundé through Mazem County.
The proof of Cebu's leadership cannot be undermined. Even after his untimely death, you can still see that those whom he trained are functioning actively on the ground. Well, there are real actions that are still taking place in Bui. Let's have a look at some throwbacks of FM Cebu.
See the fully there. I'm about to do this.
Now we're going to look at Bowie County because that is who we're drafting for today. We're going to discover Bowie County, its history, culture, and its beautiful tourist sites. Now let's look at the first one here, Kumbo Council. Brief presentation of the council area. The heart of Bowie County beats in Kumbo, the second largest town in the Midland zone of southern Cameroon, with a surface area of 630 square kilometers. Kumbo is about 110 kilometers away from Bamenda, the chief town of the Midland region. Population-wise, Kumbo counts over 216,000 inhabitants, spread in over 43 villages, which includes Bambui, Banzeng, Bamkikai, Bamkove, Bangam, Furkove, Jem, Vekaikui, Kai, Keri, Kikaikom, Kikai Kalaki, Kiku, Kimbo, Kingomen, Kishi, Kitiwum, Kitiwen, Kiyan, Konger, Maram, Mba, Mbonkwi, Mbotong, Buluf, Ve, Meli, Muluf, Rovitanga, Romanja Ai, Sakir, Shi, Song, Shuf, Tadu, Tobin, Toy, Ye, and that's the last one, Ye. The main language spoken here is the Nso language, and furthermore, there are other ethnic groupings within the municipality which include Noni, Kom, Oku, Mbiame, Wimbum, and the Fulani Bororos. They each have their own languages. Kumbo shares its boundaries with Nkum to the north, Mve to the east, and to the south by Jakiri, then to the west by Oku Noni. It is a mountainous town with three distinctive hilly settlements, Tobin, Ve, and Squares. In Kumbo, there is a wide diversity of landscape, and its rivers are punctuated with rapid, spectacular waterfalls with boiling foams. These waterfalls empty themselves into the main river of the town, rivers Bowie and Rukimbo. It is worth noting that Bowie got its name from River Bowie, while Kimbo, which is the original appellation for Kumbo, got its name from River Rukimbo. Tobin, one of the major settlements, is the administrative seat of the town. Ve is the commercial center, and Squares harbors the residents of the paramount fund of Unso, known as Nto Unso. The urban space of the Kumbo Council area is characterized by population concentration in Ve, Tobin, Kimbo Squares, and Shisong, with as expanse of empty land in between. Each population concentration has its own peculiarity as follows. Tobin is the government residential area with many offices and residents. The population of Sisong was attracted by the existence of the early Catholic Church, followed by the existence of the St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Mve is the main commercial area having the main market of the council area. This is also the main center of the Muslim population. The population of Kimbo Squares is influenced by the presence of the cathedral, the main Presbyterian church, the Baptist hospital, and the Nso Palace. There is also a market and other economic activities taking place. The population decreases as one moves away from these core areas.
All right, so let's look at the historical profile. Kumbo Council was created since 1977 out of the defunct Nso Area Council, which was created from the Southwestern Federation with headquarters in Ndop. Before the creation of the council, His Royal Highness, the Fon of Nso, Sam Arta, administered Nso with assistance from the funds of Oku, Mbieme, Nsei, Nka, and Nzim. These funds had a common council presided by the Fon of Nso, where they planned and made rules to keep away all evils from their various fundoms. The funds were members and so shared boundaries with the people of Kum, Bon, Babungo, Babisi, Fumban, Ntame, and Mbum. Each fund respected his own position and there was no power wangling. They lived in harmony with each other. Colonial administration grouped Nso, Batfoot, Ndap, and native authorities to the Bamenda Southeastern Federation of Native Authorities in the 1940s. The Nso Native Authorities split up from the Union in 1960, and by 1st April 1961, the Nso Area Council was created, which administratively fell under a subdivision. Nso rose to a subdivision on November 4th, 1963, and became a full division on December 15th, 1966. And according to the interim government's geopolitical nomenclature, it is qualified a county. Evolutionary, the Kumbo Council was created in 1977. Kumbo, which constitutes the largest part of Kumbo urban municipality, is the center of the whole Kumbo town and has a long history behind it. It is a seat of Nso Fundam. Fon Simbam migrated in 1820 to Kimbo and started with the construction of the Nso Palace from Kwifem, which is a residence of the present Fon. The famous Cathedral 01 of the landmarks of Kumbo was constructed in 1955. Its foundation stone was laid by Sibon Arta, Fon of Nson, in February 1955 under the pastoral leadership of His Lordship Bishop P. Rogan.
I think it's about time we moved into a brief Nso history. The Nso Fundam, a typical grass field of Cameroon's way of saying kingdom, since they call their king a Fon, was actually started by a woman, and this woman, Ngongso, was a princess of another tribe in the Adamawa region of the Cameroons in Nigeria. But she left that tribe along with her two brothers when a dispute between lineage and succession arose in the early 13th. The three siblings traveled to the northwest, but before they could settle anywhere together, arguments arose and they each went their separate ways, each to establish a separate tribe. Ngongso and her small following of loyal friends arrived in the Kovifem area and established themselves as the benevolent rulers over the people that were already living there. After the death of Ngongso, one of her sons became Fon, and from that point forward, the position of Fon has been inherited by men, sons of the Fon son. The Nso tribe grew quickly, and the Fon's power came not from material wealth, but strong adherence to traditional hierarchy and the belief that the Fon was not just a single man, but the representation of all the ancestors ruling over the people. This meant that for the ruling class, these traditions were much more important than being rich. So over the years, the taboos, secret societies, and hierarchical structure of the Nso society transformed from beliefs to fact. For example, even people that have been educated abroad and spent time away from Banso will tell you that they can't explain why, but if you break certain societal rules, bad things will happen to you. In one recent incident that occurred before my arrival post, a few German volunteers living in Kumbo had a large quantity of electronics stolen from their apartment, and they knew that the thief had to be among a certain group of people that were present on that night. And so after the police and gendarmes investigated and told them it was hopeless, the girls went on to consult, and later the Fon members from the Mwerong Society, a secret men's only society that functions, among other things.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
All right, so let's go to social organization. Then some people have a very strong social spirit that can be compared to only a few ethnic groups within the Midland region of southern Cameroon. Traditionally, at the level of the family, there is very strong bond between parents and children. More so, each family is attached to a big compound whose herd has certain powers over the families that fall under it. He relates with the village head and at times with the fun when need be. Here is a shrine where the ancestors are invoked in times of ill health, marriage, famine, and many other social issues. At the level of the village, there exists either a Shufai or a Fei who commands a lot of respect and authority and is compared only next to the fawn. Therefore, he represents the fawn at this level, like the head of the big compound. He performs certain rites to cleanse the village. Therefore, he is seen as a priest of the ancestral court and relates directly with the fawn and contributes in enacting laws executed by the Ngwerong. He also arbitrates in conflicts that occur within the villages. There are some Shufais who are traditional lineage heads with hereditary titles. Vabai, Vevong, the ancestors of these lords, were at Kovifem and served as close advisors to the Fon. The second group, Vabai Venso, came to Unso as independent chiefs and surrendered their royal prerogatives to the Fon of Unso. They were thus allowed to rule their villages as Shufais. They are not admitted into the exclusive clubs of the 7 Kebai Kesamba. They include Shufai Tensla of Kikialaki, Shufai Doron, and Shufai Dongwen, both of Kitiwum. The third group is known as the Bai Vubu or Vabai Dio. They are equally seven in number. These are great lords who carry out the burial of the Fon and are charged with the maintenance of the royal grave hoard. These include Bashin, Shubai, Njamvui, Dizem, Ndenzi, Ntentin, Bambuin, and replacement of Tinslayer, Tinsie, and Kogi. Let's look at the secret society. Membership into secret society is generally limited to certain classes or groupings. Now, these societies are equally close to the fun and to power, and the members are constituted from among the commons or distant relatives of the royal lineage. The Ngwerong membership here is drawn from Nsomil, common nobles of no royal descent, the Bai, and the Fon of Unso. Some sources hold that it was acquired at Kovivem from Shufai Tankum, surrounded it to the Nso people alongside his chieftaincy title in a bid to join the Nso people. Other sources hold that the Nso people had a form of Ngwerong which was only strengthened by the acquired through Shufai Tankum.
Now we're going to move to Ngiri. This institution developed as a result of the fact that princes of Nso were forbidden from participating in the Ngwerong. This is because the Fon was chosen from amongst the princes wielded too much power, and if princes who were naturally the brothers of the Fon were to control Ngwerong, there would be no counterforce to absolute dictatorship by the royal family. There is a lot of confusion as to when Ngiri was created or by whom. However, its Tikar origin is clear, especially from Bamum. This could be justified by the fact that most tribes in the northwest region have close links with the Bamum, and the Bamum themselves have the Ngiri society. This institution grew to a point where it started usurping the functions of Ngwerong. This was checked in 1935 when Ngwerong agents raided and destroyed the Ngiri shrine. Some degree of rivalry still occurs though. Memberships into Ngiri is limited to princes and the jury. Before 1935, princesses could belong to Ngiri, but today no woman is allowed. The Ngeri, strictly considered by the Nso people as a princely fraternity with little administrative functions. However, some senior members of Ngeri are advisors to the fund and do participate in some policy issues. Now let's move on to the Manjong. The institution evolved as a traditional militia and an organ for waging war when the Nso people were still at Kovifem. In the absence of any formal army, any Nso man fit enough, brave enough, and patriotic enough belonged to the Manjong. This was a very important institution, given the need at the time to protect the Nso people and land and to carry out policies of spreading Nso hegemony. Members supplied their own weapons and war attire and were always ready when someone owed by the tradition war drum. For me and other military titles developed, the Manjong later acquired the Mfu warlord from the Bamum as war booty, and it has become a very important lodge today. Other lodges created include Nchoro, Juing, and Meku. In the absence of intertribal wars, members of the Manjong show their powers during the Fon's annual hunting expedition in its two reserves of Mbokam and Mbokwiven. This has died out with the prohibition by the government of the killing of most wild animals. Presently, the members of the four lodges of the Manjong simply meet regularly, share wine, and discuss issues concerning the Nso people and information from the palace. However, the functions of the Manjong have been redirected towards communal labor, and it is very active in construction and maintenance of roads, bridges, schools, and a whole lot more.
All right, now we will briefly be moving into the Nkum Council or local government area, description of the council area. The Nkum Council area corresponds to the Nkum local government area, one of the 6 administrative units, local government areas of Bui County in the Midland region of southern Cameroon. This council area is bounded by 5 local government areas, namely Ndum to the north, then to the east, Kumbo to the south, Oku to the southwest, and Noni to the northwest. The surface area is estimated at 705.63 kilometers squared, with about 120,000 inhabitants. Tatum town, which is the capital, is situated some 25 kilometers from Kumbo, the Bui County capital, and about 135 kilometers from Bamenda, the chief town of the capital of the Midland region.
Let's look at another local government area, the 3rd, Jakiri Council, the homeland of Weber Joseph. Now, Jakiri local government area is one of the 6 municipalities in Bui County in the Midland region of southern Cameroon, and it is located about 80 kilometers from Bamenda on the Ring Road that passes through most of the county headquarters in the Midland region. At the center of Jakiri, the road branches off to Fumban in the west region of La Republique du Cameroon. The local government area covers the same administrative and geographical areas of the local government area. It covers a surface area of about 675 kilometers square and a population of about 90,000 inhabitants. It shares boundaries with the following councils in Bui, Wekombo to the north, Elak Oku to the west, and Mbiame to the east. To the south, it shares boundaries with Babesi from Ngoketunja County, and to the southeast, it shares boundaries with Bangoran from the west region. The lodges of the Jakiri Council, Anse, Barera, Ber, Bui, Fakui, Guangtang, Jakiri, Kifo, Kimar, Kinkade, King Senjam, Kicho, Kutaba, Kwanso, Limbo, Lip, Mbokam, Mantu, Mbonkam, Mbonkija, Mbonjong, Mbongwe, Mengu, Mensai, Zembo, Zeremyam, Nzevsha, Kam, Ngang, Ngomering, Nkankwe, Nkartse, Nku, Noi, Nso, Nto, Nka, Ntoti, Sembang, Ntuni, Ntu, Nyan, Ran, Runtong, Sarkong, Shi, Shukai, Shukov, Sop, Tan, Taran, Tashem, Tavire, Tavisa, Senkov, Vekovi or Waikov, Wainama, Wainkar, Wasi, Vame, Yer, and Tamir.
All right, let's look at the Nkor Council, the description of the municipality. Nkor Council area engulfs the entire Noni local government area, which is found in Bui County of the Midland region of southern Cameroon. The estimated surface area of Nkor Council is about 325.7 square kilometers. The population is sparsely settled across the council area under 10 traditional fundams, with 6 principal concentration zones along the Noni Ring Road at Mbimon, Lassine, Nkor, Dom, Din, and Jotin, Nchina, Mi, Ngeptang, Nkele, and Bamti are some major quarters linked to the principal population centralization zones of Mbinon, Nkol, and Din, respectively. The Nkor Council was created by Colonial Presidential Decree number 93/322 of 25th November 1993. This decree also stated that Nkor Council shall have the same administrative boundaries as the Noni local government area. Curiously, the decree that created Noni local government area stated that the administrative boundaries of the local government area shall be defined in a separate text, which text has never seen the light of the day. Consequently, neither the boundaries of the Nkor Council nor those of the Noni local government areas are defined. However, the boundaries of the Noni customary court area are well known and well defined on IGN and Kambe sheet of 1972. Curiously, in spite of the foregoing fact, Nkor Council has boundary dispute with the Nso tribe in the southeast, Oku tribe in the south, Kum tribe in the west, and Abom tribe in the north. The population of this council area is about 100,000 inhabitants. This population is predominantly of the Noni ethnic group, sparsely settled across the council area under 10 traditional fundams with 6 principal concentration zones along the Noni Ring Road at Mbinon, Lassine, Nkor, Dom, Din, Njotin. In addition to the indigenous Noni population, there is a growing trend for settler population in the council area. A significant Fulani population grouped into 8. At the rate, it's scattered across the entire council area, while a small colony of Nso extraction migrated from the neighboring Kumbo local government area and settled in Dome around Banten and Fofeng, and in some area of Jutin around Bo, Mbim, and Kiri, commonly referred to as Jotin Nso.
Now, the village of the Nkor Council, Ashanko, Awinko, Bamtidin, Bandiv Njotin, Bunti, Vungoidom, Changfung Ndoti, Chowdom, Diwili, Ding, Ebanya Mbinon, Ebwewe Lasin, Ego Njotin, Ejungo Lasin, Enjong Mbinon, Nkowe Nko, Entange Lasin, Etakum Kong, Fibwe Din, Fontin Jotin, Gagi Jotin, Bengbule Ngo, Ki Gi Mbinon, Ngofunding, Jane Lasin, Kiba Vuke Nko, Kichanko, Kinengti Nko, Kinengti Jotin, Kochinko, Lafele Jotin Mbandom, Menko, Meyesin Jotin, Mutalenko, Nchini Mbinon, Ngalasin, Ngaiding, Ngangange Din, Ngetang Din, Ngangli Din, Nkali Din, Nsusi Dom, Ntufum Mbinon, Nto Lasin, Nyaling Nko, Vundin. And now the last but not the least is Mbiame Council and its municipality. Mbiame Council area is found in Vane local government area in Bui County of the Midland region, and it is located some 27 kilometers northeast of Kumbo, capital of Bui division. It is bounded to the southwest by Kumbo, southeast and east by the Noun division, western region of La Republic du Cameroon, north by Dongamatun County, DMC of Ambazonia, and Adamawa of La Republic du Cameroon. It has a surface area of 575 kilometers square. A number of inhabitants is about 70,000 inhabitants. Number of villages, 32 villages. And also there is a lot more. Although some areas are cosmopolitan for ethnic groups, can be distinguished in the whole subdivision: Mbiame, Lamso, Fulanese, Yambas, and the Damones. Now that is like the last one we're looking at. We cannot talk end this over without giving you a reason Bui County is a destination post-independence.
All right, so but let's look at the touristic sites and cultural attractions in Bui County. All right, the Ngonto Cultural Week. In the 1950s, the people of Nso started an annual cultural week festival to celebrate the Nso hero, mother, warrior, and founder of Nso land, Yaya Ngonto. It is also known that Yaya Ngonto was the first fon of Nso. A fon is the head of the traditional government. The Cultural Week has since been named the Ngonto Cultural Week and celebrated annually, mostly in December. Till the Kumbo Cathedral. It was built in the 1950s. Kumbo Cathedral is constructed entirely from stones. The cathedral is located at the top of the square hill, dominating the town's landscape. The cathedral is the seat of the bishop since its creation in 1983. Let's also look at Lake Oku. Now, it is a beautiful crater lake surrounded by lush forest on the Bamenda Plateau in the Midland region of southern Cameroon. It is located at 2,227 meters, that is 7,306 feet on Mount Oku, and is completely surrounded by cloud forest. The lake lies in an explosion crater formed in the last phase of development of Oku Massive, a large volcanic field with a diameter of about 100 kilometers. Mount Oku is a stratovolcanic that rises to 3,011 meters. The lake is the subject of many myths among the local people. The lake is the only known habitant of the Lake Oku cloud frog. The surrounding Kilum Ijem forest is a nature reserve set up by BirdLife International and home to many rare species.
Let's look at the fourth one, Kilum Mountain Forest Reserve. The Kilum Njim Forest is an area of rainforest in southern Cameroon's Midland region. It is found on Mount Oku and the nearby Njim Ridge in the Amazonian mountains, with Lake Oku lying in a crater in its center. It is the largest area of Afro-montane forest left in West Africa. The area is an important one for biodiversity, including the endemic Bannerman's Turaco and banded Wattle-eye. The forest is the focus of a successful community conservation project, the Kilum Njim Forest Project, which works to protect the forest. The project is a collaboration between the Colonial Ministry of the Environment and BirdLife International, and purportedly focuses on sustainable use of the forest, local management, working to benefit both the biodiversity and local development. The program works so well that the boundaries of the forest, or as mapped by satellite imagery, are expanding, and the success of the idea has led to another sister project in Amazonia, the Bamenda Highlands Forest Project. The Kilum Njim Forest is an area of land which has extreme biodiversity, ranging from tropical rainforest to lake biomass. To keep the rainforest sustainable and available for future use, control of areas of the Kilum forest have been handed over to the locals to preserve and sustain. Let's look at the waterfalls: Tolun, Kenshing, Enfwe, Tankon, Mbancham, Ketse, Kingomen. Well, the caves as well include Mvek Yafon, Nkwe, Mvek Ngalai, Mvek Tafon, Tonkol, Mvek Mawes, Kinaki, Efiane, Ekak, Mfi, Kingomen, and a lot more. Now, the Soul of Oku Museum, SUM, is a cultural and touristic center in the Oku Palace. It has a craft shop for local objects of art and a cafe. The Soul of Oko Museum, SUM, is a non-profit making permanent institution in the service of the Oko people and of their development and open to the public. It acquires, conserves, researches, communicates, and exhibits for purposes of study, education, and enjoyment, material evidence of the people and their environment. It equally runs a craft shop for marketing of local objects of art and a cafe where you can consume Oko brand of organic coffee, Oko white honey, and other locally made fufu cakes. The Oko Funds Palace is the traditional administrative organization which manages the culture of the Oko people. The SUM found in the palace was created for public display of information and antiquities related to the custom and traditions of Oko people. This equally serves to raise funds.
6 traditional buildings decorated with wood carved surrounding 2 yards where the faun is customary to sit to receive his people or his advisors. The center of the first cause, Ngonso, the statue of the first queen of Unso people according to legend.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
Indeed, it is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop. I want to especially start by thanking the President of the Federal Republic of Amazonia for putting together an excellent platform and structure that provides an opportunity, a unique opportunity for every Amazonian to express themselves the way they would love to. You've just gone through an exceptional review of the Bowie County that our anchor ladies have presented to us. They've gone to every LGA, every village. The names in Bowie, I must say, they are very beautiful. And I would like to congratulate this lady because I was very surprised with some of the pronunciations. There are some of these words that I find a lot of difficulties myself to pronounce them. You find them. Bowie County alone has more than 50 villages with beautiful names that you think about it after reviewing just Bowie and what Ambazonia is. This is the history. This is the reality of our nation that has been hidden from us. That means the truth about us was not being taught us. We learned from the documentary that was just presented to us a few minutes ago that Bowie County is rich not just in culture but in resources. And Bowie County is a great touristic site. Today, the 10th day of the ninth month of 2022, we are drafting for Bowie. And like I said last week or during the news week, the draft is not a tribalistic framework. The draft is every Amazonian's endeavor. Dr. Patience said on Friday, he says it is a basic civic duty of every Amazonian to participate in the draft. And today, as an Amazonian, as proud Amazonians, we're dressed in our regalia, we are dressed in our cultures, we come with our ears open, sitting around that fireside. I call the draft every Saturday as a fireside. A boy that was raised in town but that was very used to the village, I know that listening to the stories told by grandparents is always a time you don't want to miss. This is a day that we come, and ABC Amber TV is taking that responsibility because we come, we think it is a time that we have to bring into the minds, refresh even our own people what the values of their villages are. Without any waste of your time, I'd like to apologize to you that we started a little bit behind schedule or beyond the time we scheduled for the show. We've been having challenges to connect with some of the authorities from the Bowie County. Fortunately, we have the county coordinator, the chairman Shea Yimbu, that I'm sure is behind the scenes or in our studios to talk to us. Is very vital. He's a man, I love his voice. He has a beautiful voice indeed. Some of you might be listening to this voice already. You must have heard him speak here. He's always having great speeches. I wouldn't allow him to unveil his beautiful speech now, but to answer for us some very relevant questions, because I know he would like to do that when the president is already on the Zoom link. We are locked into the Zoom link, and Amazonians are already signing in. So I'm calling on those of you watching us on Facebook and on YouTube and at the home front. We will stop the stream after this interview session or after this show so that you can go and join the president. The president can't come on the Zoom and he is there by himself. So as soon as the president is on the Zoom and as soon as resource mobilization gives me the cue, this show will automatically end. Right now,
we have come to enjoy Bui, and Bui has something beautiful for us all the time. I like this particular musician from Bui. We know of the other music that was coming in from Bui, that was a great beautiful display from Bui. I particularly love this musician because he has won the awards in the Cameroons. He has beaten all the records in the Cameroons. He has defied the ideology in the Cameroons that says that les anglophones ne connaissent pas la musique. No, he told them that we know music and we can do it better than them. And this is none other than my friend Mr. Leo. I'm going to be transitioning. He's a son from Bui. We'll be transitioning with this music. And right after that, we'll have Shea Yimbu talk to us, teacher.
We gather, light up a fire, we getting higher, we feel the power, oh. G. Mshatima, Vendula, bye. Motherland is such a paradise. How long before we realize? Savannah and Sahara unite, light up one big firelight. We dancing through the night. Landa with the lodging lador, with the machangling changling na. Oh, G. Gio. Gio, 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 Gio. The rivers will never stop to flow. The mountains will always keep our gold. So let us dream alive. Yovabena, with the Mayua, Mshiajima, freedom of the mind. Afienaru ilafanaku, Afienaru ilafanaku. Idudun from here, yeah. Sado, Lendele, Sado, Abaji, we gather, light up a fire, we getting higher, we feel the power, oh. Abatia, verbatia kongadema, verbatia chenga chenga, verbatia yovabena, oh. Safovira. No, no, no. No, no, no. Vikir vidu vena kalindera. Sadu will pudina. Ay, ay, ay. Abai, ay, ay, ay. Abani kantini with the machangin da kivishi kishiki ranila with your chi abani yo vanilla do yo yo yo. Motherland is such a paradise. How long before we realize?
Motherland is such a paradise. How long before we realize? That was Mr. Leo, son of Bui, the award winner from the Land. I am very proud of him. Why am I proud of him? He's not only won awards in the Cameroons, all the best awards they have, he has told them that Ambazonia can be excellent. He has won awards in the Afri Awards in Nigeria. Okay, I'm sure those from the Zoom want to get me. So, like I said, that was Mr. Leo, son of Bui, and he's won a lot of awards. I want to believe that those in the Zoom can hear me now. Thank you for that feedback. And we are straight away going to be talking to the county coordinator for Bui. You've just heard a beautiful track coming in there. That's a melange of folklore and jazz music from a son of Ambazonia, son of Bui, an award winner. You know, how do you feel today watching this song, looking back into our history, the oppression, the aggression we've gotten from the colonial masters, the insult, the marginalization, the despise? They always called us Anglophiles because they thought we were not capable. We are about to draft today because of that selfness, that feeling that we are a people and we have the right to exist, our right to self-determination that is divine. How do you feel, Chairman? Talk to us, please.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Director Tapadi King. If you are hearing me, I want to tell you and the rest of Amazonia, and especially the people of Bui County, that I feel upbeat. I feel upbeat seeing, for example, what you just showed us out there, a musical display by a son of the soil. You remember Paddy and the rest of Amazonia, they said we were nothing. They could not listen to our music because it was inferior. You know, the best music was always Makossa and Bikusi. And so ours was music of slaves. And the slave had no place around the master's banquet hall. But today, with the will of God the Father Almighty, who made man, created the heavens and the earth, and said, there is equal right for every human creation. He is telling the world and us and them today, French Cameroon, our oppressors, that what they taught, what they did, could not continue forever. There is a saying that goes, you can fool some of the people some of the times, but you will never fool all the people all the times. Here we are today, standing strong and firm in the restoration of the independence of our nation and our freedom. Man is born free. We reject the chains in which he is. We deny those chains and we say, our freedom has come to stay, and there is no way that Ambazonia, the former British Southern Cameroons, will ever again fall under the claws, the wicked genocidal claws of the enemy. We stand as a nation restored in 2017, and we will always stand as a nation restored in times to come and for our generations to come, because we of today are a non-nonsense generation. The never again generation that says we stand to be free and freedom is ours. And there is nobody who will ever take it away from us. And may it be known that you can never fight any ideology. You will never fight an ideology. You will crumble over the ideology of the Amazonian people. This is a ghost. It is a ghost. It is not seen. It is in us. It lives in our DNAs. It is transformed, transmitted, and it will be transmitted in all the generations to come. You can kill all of us now, but even those who are unborn, it is already in them. So why fight? Please give to Caesar. Look at the coin, the biblical coin. I'm talking to French Cameroon. Look at that biblical coin and give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. Give to Amazonia what is Amazonia's and take what is yours. Yours is your country that we came as equal partners to be together. This marriage that was never consummated has not worked. And therefore, we say we are gone and gone for good. Therefore, give us what is ours and stop the sleeplessness and the killing of your own people by trying to fight what cannot be fought. Paddy, I feel upbeat. Amazonia, I feel upbeat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coordinator Shea Yimbu. You just said something. It is a ghost. As simple and practical as that statement could be, you cannot arrest it. A son from Jakiri, that's still from the Bui County, said in Yaoundé, it says, even if you combine the forces from France with your forces, you will not beat Amazonia. Just a few days ago, Cameroon sent out a propaganda message and said they're sending special forces. I like the word special. How special is it? Are these forces having a better training than the alliance forces of the Zakawas, the Sangos in Bangui, the Zakawas from Chad, and even the French forces that have been battling with Amazonian restoration forces for 5 years? That's an answer I wouldn't bother myself to answer, because we all know you are the chairperson or the coordinator of a major county. And this is a county that is, I would say, it's at least the heartbeat of the war in Amazonia as we speak. Every day you find military trucks getting into Bui and they're not getting out. Amidst that, Bui is chaotic. Administratively, you're reconstituting. Bui County had LGAs that were functional, but now it is kind of dormant. But the war is ongoing. Insubu was an inspiration to the peoples of Amazonia. We all know that. It was under your leadership that we had the same individual. Today, Insubu is no more. Not because La République du Cameroon actually targeted him and got him. They got insiders, those whom he called his brother. That is the concern of Amazonians as they come to make sure that they can empower this county to keep going and to ensure that we win. What is the strategy you're putting together? First of all, to mobilize the huge diasporic community of Bui. We know the Nsok people are scattered everywhere in every country in the world. The first thing, what are you doing to mobilize these people? How do you intend to bring cohesion within the structures that are available? And what is the hope for Bui right now, even after the death of Insubu? Please talk to us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director. That is a very wonderful question. You know, it is said in that land of Bui that kings come and go, but the land remains. Even Gonzo, the founder of the kingdom of the Nsok people in Bui, came and went. The great Mbinglo came and went, and yet the land remains. And therefore, leaders will come and go, Paddy. Leaders will come and go. We will have a hurting heart or hurting hearts to miss them. But just as humane and human as they were, there are also other Isubus, other Minglos, other Gonsoks, and so on, who will keep the torch burning. And that is why you have life's existence. If there was no life existence and continuity, then great leaders like Mandela would have meant that the nation of South Africa would have gone into the grave with him. Okay? Yesterday, we heard of the death of the Queen, the great Queen Elizabeth. I do not think you want to say that the Great Britain is dead, and therefore we will continue from where every great leader stopped, Mr. Director. As far as coming together or strategizing in order to move on forward from here, there is one thing I just want to say, Paddy, and it is we have been chopped up almost into pieces for more than 60 years by a very technical aspect that the enemy uses and has used for all these years, decades, to subjugate us. And that is the divide and rule tactics that they use both with external and internal forces in order to divide us. But you know what? We have been learning and experiencing in the fight. And we know the enemy very, very well. Even those who pretend to be with them know deep in their heart that all they got in this world is Amazonia and is in Amazonia. And they can pretend with them for 100 years. There is the die-hard segment that says enough is enough and we will never turn. It doesn't matter whether you bring billions of your currency onto our forefronts. We will never take blood money over our nation and over our people. For those who have eyes and can see, for those who have ears and can hear, have already seen and heard what chaos has become of our brothers and sisters who allowed themselves to be sidetracked and derailed into the banquet halls and the tables, eating together with the enemy. The bystanders have also seen, and we have been vindicated. We who have stood the course, Paddy, you are one, I am one, that we should stand and say enough is enough and close our eyes to destruction and only look forward to the promised land. Those who thought we were mistaken, truly deep in their hearts, would have seen that, oh yes, truly they were mistaken. And just because of that, we are recuperating, and we will recuperate, we will stand together. And the greater majority that we are, Paddy, will prevail. And even if we were left down to the smallest majority, I will want to tell you and warn everybody who has known and heard and read history that it is not the majority that wins a revolution. It is the determined minority that says, no, you can never kill that ideology, that will continue to poke the eyes of the enemy and render the enemy blind, poke the ears of the enemy and render the enemy deaf, that will stand the course and bring freedom to all, even to those who had sold us on the way. Paddy, we stand, we move forward, there is no turning back. We are on the winning trail and we will win because we are guided and protected by the Lord Almighty, who created man and said, you will live in your own land. And those boundaries are your boundaries and nobody can take it by force. So is Ambazonia. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's a video that is actually a confirmation of what you're saying. The summary of all you've said is that in spite of the death of Bowie, in spite of the evil mechanization to dismantle the framework of excellence that is existing in Bowie County, in spite of what the enemy or infiltrators or enablers did in Bowie, Bowie is still working. But before we get to that, I want to refresh the minds of Amazonians with this beautiful video that I'm about to play right now. There's a video that shows to us some of the excellence of this man, this young brave fighter that became a superstar, and that has been written in the hearts and minds of every Amazonian. I'm talking about Insubu. Some may want to call it past glories of Bowie, but then I think these are glories that are going to live on. The days will be singing the victory song in Boya. We cannot do so without having these images to spice up anything we have to do. So I want you watching us right now to just sit there and to watch this beautiful recap video I have now for you. I know you will love it. You will definitely love it. These are some of the achievements of the person you call Insubu. Why Insubu was feared, not only by those who have been subscribed into the evil of La République du Cameroon that call themselves Amazonia, but was feared in Yaoundé. Just watch.
See the fully there. I'm about to do this.
Down again. Go. Bye.
Now, this was just to bring to your mind what we've been talking about, and it also affirms to the structure that is existing nowhere else but the interim government. We've seen the interim government being able to mobilize youths, brave restoration forces like this in Libialem, in Gorki Tunja, in Bui, and in every county. But what enemies did when you see such organization is to destroy them. Chairman, with your permission, once again, I'd like you to give me the chance to bring another very vital image. This is current. They thought they had killed Insubu, but the death of Insubu brought the resurrection of 10,000 Insubu. This image I know has not been shown publicly, not even once. You're going to be seeing this for the first time. This is what is on the ground now. And these are people that are willing to kick away the forces of colonization in our land. Stay tuned.
Fellow Ambazonians, these are the Bui warriors under Major General Tokandu. You are going to see them march past here. So they say they are ready to take back our land. That is Ambazonia from the terrorist government of Yaoundé. They are here in their numbers, beginning with their colonels, captains, and their commanders. So you can see the procession. You can see the procession. They say they are ready to take back their land. That's Ambazonia from the terrorist military of La République. And they are calling on our people, both at home and in diaspora, to help them as their draft is coming up any day from today, so that they can add more material in order to put down La République terrorists based in Bui County. Thank you all. Soldiers! 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 Yes, now we're picking them this Bui warriors. Bui warriors, now not them this. Then say them be ready. Say we wanna be ready too for contribute money for that their draft, so that make them add the material when they get them for hand. For see make them move La République for land. And they promise all that say them go be happy for see all wanna back for homeland. So all wanna go stand one place, enjoy the resources where God don't give them for we land. Soldiers! So my dear people them for Ambazonia, most especially those of you for Bui County, now the Bui warriors them this under Major General Tokandu. As you can hear them sing, they are not afraid to die. So as we are saying, we all have drafted with our lives, and we are calling on all of you, both sons and daughters, parents of Bui County. Why not we thank you all, and we equally send words of thanks to the interim government for their endless support there.
Well, that is just an avant-go. This is a foretaste of the beauty that we'll be showing you as soon as the president joins the Zoom call this evening. We're telling you that why noisemakers are busy making the noise, stakeholders are busy doing what they know how to do best to make sure that our land is free. You should be a proud county coordinator that amidst the challenges that you're facing, this is what Bui can still present to the people of Ambazonia. I know those who are watching at the home front right now, those who are watching on every of our platform, they are smiling, they are excited, their faith is rekindled, there is inspiration in the air. Just talk to us. I know you're proud with these images. Tell us a little bit about your secret and where you are going with this. Why should Ambazonia draft for you, and what should we expect from you in the days ahead? Talk to us, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director. I want to let Ambazonians know that it is only a man who is not a man that falls and not get up. Your manhood is determined when you fall and you jump back up. And I also want to say that it is a good thing that this destabilization came. How ironical a statement this is, right? This is to show the world and show the enemy that what you could do to our parents who were not educated in the 60s, you can no longer do to us in the 21st century. We are out. We are volatile. We are immeasurable in intelligence and education. We have gone all around the world. As you sent us, you refused us good education and technically drove us out of our land. But the world in its entirety by the will of God, accepted us, welcomed us, and built us, gave us this intelligence to come back and turn around today. Those stones that were rejected became the cornerstones that the builders will look onto. And just that ideology that reigns in our blood and runs red, it will never die. It is only growing stronger. So you can call this disorganization. You can call this your old tactic, coming and destroying a house by using even brother and sister, brother and brother to fight each other so that you can be able to take over the house. No, good, gone are those days. What you see with the Bowie warriors, their reorganization and organization is just to tell you that they will fall because that is nature, and they will rise again just like a seed that is put into the ground and it brings up a big tree. There are no two ways out. We are very, very strong. We will continue.
Chairman Yimbu, you are very, you have a lot of proverbs in your bowels, and I know that any day you come up with something new. I can see in the newsroom right now, you're making everybody excited. Everybody's just excited listening to you. I can see the ladies laughing. You said something, I know it's a proverb, about manhood. I wouldn't mind if you repeat that and connect it to this story. It was very interesting. I'd like you to do it again.
So the man who falls and stays down there on the floor is no man, Paddy. Your manhood is determined. Just how many times you fall and you jump up and you begin to rock again and you say, I stand the course. There is no way you can put me down. I will never fall, and stay there so that you become happy and say, I have taken them. I have swallowed them. No, we refuse that you swallow us. We refuse that you keep us down. We will stand and remind you. I did not say we will never fall. We will fall because it is nature. We will continue falling and getting up and going ahead. There is no stopping. You cannot stop us. There is therefore no reason for this bloody war, because you cannot fight what you don't see. You cannot fight a ghost. You cannot fight what runs in people's DNA. You cannot. If you want to conquer us, then you will be prepared to kill to the last ant in that land called Amazonia. And therefore, just to echo his words again, do not worry bringing special forces, because if you had those special forces, we would have seen their job since 6 years now. Do not worry bringing people to come and die and lose their lives for nothing. Do not send children, your people's children, to come and die. Do not fight the thing that cannot be fought. Come to the negotiation table. Let us negotiate. Go our ways and stay as tight-knit, good, sweet neighbors. This should not continue, because it will reach a stage where it will be enmity, and enmity forever. You were warned. La Republique was warned by Agobala that these people are begging for federation now and you're not giving. There will come a time when they will not even want to hear that word federation. And that time came and passed. And therefore, like a peaceful human being, perhaps a voice of Amazonians, is telling French Cameroon to keep this down. Stop fighting what cannot be fought. Stop wasting lives created by God by sending your children to come and die and also kill us. Come, let us settle. Sit on the table as equal partners and talk business of separation and live as two beautiful, lovely nations. The clock is ticking, and I am afraid after 40,000 and above and more of Amazonians killed, and so many thousands of killed, your people will rise against you, Amazonia will be against you, and there will be no friendship, perhaps in future. A word to a wise is enough. Thank you, Mr. Director. Over to you.
Yes, thank you. You cannot fight what you don't see is one of those captions that I am taking home today. And I think Undaunted will be deliberating and expanding a lot on that. Just a moment, let me mute those on Zoom so that they don't interfere this broadcast. Okay, thank you very much. So Chairman Yimbu says you cannot fight what you don't see. And any attempt to fight Ambazonia to subdue them in their own land is an effort in futility because you will not win an indigenous people in their homeland. If America could escape after spending trillions of dollars in Afghanistan, then who are you to think that you stay in Amazonia? It's just a matter of time. And that's why it's important during the draft season like this for us to revive the spirits of Amazonians. They need to understand that this is a win-win for Amazonia. It is not even possible for you to look back, because when you look back, you're seeing Insubu with blood tears in his eyes, saying that, hey, guys, keep going. The only way we will avenge the lives that have been lost, the brave restoration forces, our daughters that have been fried in palm oil, our mothers and octogenarians that have been roasted on their own beds, the baby in Batsibo that was burnt like a fish. The only way is for us to reclaim our national territory and restore our territorial integrity, and to install in the State House in Boya fully our presidency. That's the only way. Why the international community might be dragging their legs, or La République du Cameroon is wasting their time, you've just heard from Chairman Sheyimbu that we have to keep fighting. Now, Chairman, I want us to talk on the issue now. The issue is about the resources and putting together these resources. It has to do with you first and foremost, mobilizing your people and your relationship with coordinating. I asked the question, which I know you answered it to some extent, but I'd like you to shed more light. The Bansal community, like we normally call it, or the Nsol people, have very huge traditional gathering. You heard Okpala and Star Smart actually telling us that in the Midland region or zone, the people from Bui have the strongest traditional or cultural institutions. They are people that live together. You have a rich, vibrant, and very extended diasporic community to reach out to. I know you're not expecting all to be a part of your county today, because some are still on the sidewalk, some are on the fence, some are enablers, some are self-centered. But what efforts are you making to get into these cultural groups, to get to reconcile the people of more as a responsibility that I know you have as a leader? What are you doing? What has been done? What do you intend to do in this delight?
Thank you very much, Mr. Director. We are talking and we continue to talk. And, you know, the strategy of a wise man who knows that he or she has enemies who are as well wise, is better left under his or her buttocks while they are sitting down than be shown like the face of a pillow into the public before the enemy cuts into your strategies. We are doing what we are doing, and we know very well that there are a lot of infiltrators, a lot of enablers, some of whom are actually crying now and saying, had I known Had I known, I would not have followed this course, the opposite way. We want to tell them, and we have continued telling them, that, remember, there was a prodigal son in the great books who took almost half the riches of the father, went and squandered it, and came back. And the father still opened the door and said, come into the house, and my people will receive you with a party. We are saying Amazonia belongs to everybody. If you made a mistake, we will receive you back home, because we stand the course and we know we are in the path of righteousness. Whatever you did, if you truly repent and want to turn back, we say, come back. Come back. The house is yours. Amazonia is yours. It is not only mine. It is not only his. It is not only hers. It is for all of us. We are stakeholders. And as stakeholders, we will put our hands together and be able to uplift this evil veil that hangs over us and that has continued to hang over us for more than 60 years. But remember that while we ask you to turn and look at the events that have passed and make a U-turn, remember that we are not stopping. We are going. The trains rose. It got off the station long ago, and it is in high speed. It will roll like this with this speed until it reaches Boya, our promised land. We are engaging, we remain engaging, and we also remain with our arms open like fathers and mothers or parents who will beat the child and send them under the table and not out of the door with the door shut. But if in that activity the child goes out of the house, we want to tell the child, as has been our creed, that the door remains just shut, just closed and not shut. Thank you, Paddy. We have strategies in our hands. We are visiting our communities and we are looking at them in the eyes and telling them, please remember who you are. And we know the enemy is not sleeping, Paddy. Just recently, with the organization of people of Bui in the US of A, we had infiltrators of high-ranking levels coming to influence the elections in their evil way. You know, there has never been any rightfully won election in La Republique, except the 1992 election that Ni John Ofrundi won and did not rule as president. But truth can never be hidden. Light can never be covered. It will always shine where it is even the darkest part of the day. Light will prevail. We will prevail, and I am telling the people of Amazonia, fund the revolution, please. Fund this for your generations to come. Fund this for yourself, because this is your land. Remember, in the words of Star Anonye, a goal not funded will remain only a wish. We refuse to make Amazonia remain a wish in us. And we refuse to transcend this onto the coming generation. This is the stop notch, the stop of the road of this suffering. This generation is a no-nonsense generation, a no-nonsense generation, and we will not let this go to the next level. It ends with us here. You will take all of us out of this earth, and then face the unborn, because you will still face us. A very, very volatile force is coming. Should you refuse to sleep with us now and to fix this and in some kind of a quasi-gentlemanly manner over a table of equal partners with a third mediator? Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Chairman Shehimbo. It is about 9 p.m. Ambazonia time. I think I'll be giving you a very short break to go back and do your duties in the Zoom meeting. But before that, I want us to have this short break for those watching on Zoom, those watching on Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, and watching at the home front via the satellite in West and East, in Central Africa. We thank you for being a part of this. And I like the fact that your one of your last statements you high signed what the lady said. A goal that is not funded is nothing less than a wish. And we must not allow Amazonia to remain a wishful desire. You know, we are a people of a constitute and construct, and we deserve the right to exist. So, Chairman, right after this break, this musical break, I would like you to give your closing remark, and so that you can join others on the Zoom meetings, and the girls will close up this show. Then we will meet in the Zoom to continue tonight's program. Stay tuned.
When you love for fair, will get me tavi. I switch him love for fair, I'm kept servi. Can you give on Bena, I love you. I've been quarantine, I love you. God, when you love for fair, will then you go. I give very tongue Bena, Jim Yelena. I tell very tongue Bena, Jim Yelena. I tell very tongue Bena, Jim Yelena. You want very tongue Bena, Jim Yelena. Kadam, kadam, Jimmy don't. Some of them shy, young doggo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa, yo, 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 yo. Yeah, yeah. Come look to your bang, the one for them, Kerabitavi. Then Psyche Tomki Kumbankarim, your Butanin. Fukoni, your tango, Monbankavi. We Moron Chengumba, we Mobuno Sotanin. They Chengan, the Chentak will run a Vilami. So we all like your tango. Yembo burinyo yo jama yo wa yembo shushe yo jako yo wa yo bano de yo gonge yembo wilbono ben ko yo e yembo wan bon to de ben ko yo wa yo bano de yo gonge yo bano bo yo ben na wera lo tum yo do wan kona o bo shushe yo de do wan kona yembo burinyo yo do wan kona Tumchere wakuma Shusha mayo ben koi mina yuun bajanga Ve yo funky fa ave yo tanky fa Ve the one konso ave yo yulambara Am oga ajishimban Aver kuti karaman Sumnen nam gorgon so len au nyama moshimban Ben koti wiyo Vasan wajanga Jiven koti wiyo Vasan wayo Wanisa ben yeke benaku wefana Nego wange be me ye wong so Ben loka tiela we license vola wong so Ti we load for me loud license very Ayenali Ividama Jayenali Ividama Wo masaluka takusika talab do Once away, you boy, once away. Beluma lum get ben now your window. We go back up and oh, are you wait for day? Show man, Yamalon to yo, you shake with ya. Put in your soa. Gita chafomba mojindula jikupi jomdi tanto jofongo shuo me warangongo. Mzawi ele gunombe yo. Deja bi me wono ye bi me la la la.
Now we be the boys from So. That's what I'm saying.
These boys from So are taking the game to a whole new level, Chairman. Just talk to us and encapsulate that with your closing remark for this show. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director. You know, like I said earlier, that you cannot keep light no matter the amount of darkness that you bring. You cannot cover light. Light would always shine. The boys from So are showing you that, yes, we are a special people. Yes, musically, culturally, traditionally, educationally, scientifically, and you name it. And that this generation is a generation that is going to stay the course. We are going to stay the course. We were blinded, but now we can be able to see. Our sight is restored. We were made to be deaf by an oppressor, but today our eardrums are ringing tough and we can hear very well. Our feet were clapped. We were made forcefully to be cripples. But today, Mr. Tapadi, we will walk, and we are walking and even running. Fellow Ambazonians, listen to me. Listen to a great patriot. Today, if you hear the word of Ambazonia, if you hear the word of this interim government, the people's interim government, led by its president, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, harden not your heart. Harden not your heart. Moses took the people of Israel from the grips of Pharaoh and went across the deserts for 40 years. Not many people, some of the people did not believe in him. A lot tried to betray him, and a lot did betray him. But because of what he believed in, he took the people and finally saw the promised land. Please, stay the course. Please, stay away from destruction, and more of the destruction is going to come. Whoever told you that life was a walk in the park, it is not. Then that is no life. Temptations will come, but who you are is determined by how you can overcome those temptations and keep on the track of the course. The course which is our freedom. Please, look back. Do not only look ahead. Look back and shift history. Because if you do not look back, you will not be able to assess where you are in the present and determine where you are going to. Look, just yesterday, President Sako was castigated as the darkest people. But today, the brothers and sisters of yours and mine who castigated him are now tearing themselves apart and drying their own very dirty linens in the public. Where do you keep that very black President Sako that you had castigated and torn to pieces? Be wise, true freedom fighters. Stay the course and stay resolute. There is no leader who is perfect. Every leader is human, just as you are. And therefore, there will be bound to be mistakes. But when we are able to make those mistakes and correct them, then that is true leadership. Bad leadership is when we make the mistakes, commit the mistakes, and we do not correct them. But when we are open to correction, and we are open to opening our ears, sitting around our table and talking with our people and taking off again after falling, beating off the dust, then that is true leadership. I see true leadership in the people's interim government, the true interim government of the Federal Republic of California, which is the interim government led by His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako. Stay the course, Ambazonia, fund the revolution, please chip in. There is nothing that is small. A journey of 1,000 miles will always start with little step. For you to fill a drum and you are carrying water down the stream, you will have to go down so many times with your little bucket before that drum will fill. So every little mite that you have is going to work in making sure that we realize our goal. Do not stay behind. Keep not behind, because history is being written in the near future, and it is not going to be long from now, fellow Amazonians. The books will be opened, and Amazonians will be asking you, when this nation was in dire need, fellow brother, fellow Bui brother, fellow brother of Amazonia, what did you do? Where were you? How did you come to support the ship that was almost sinking? Where was your own little mite that you gave in order for the basket of food to be put to the table so that it become mighty and able for the fighters to be able to eat and carry on? Where were you?
And Chairman, interestingly, we had the restoration forces. Every time they say that, I feel emotional. They said, we have drafted with our lives.
Yes.
And I want you, if you're watching us, to ask yourself, how much is your money? How many lives can your money buy? The same thing the restoration forces in Kokitunja said. The same thing the rest of restoration forces in Kupema Nenguba said. And that's the same thing we've heard from Boyo. They have drafted with their lives. What is your draft? Your money. Maybe it's $1,000. Congratulations. Maybe it's $2,000. Maybe it's $10,000. How many lives can that money buy? Thank you very much, Shay Yimbo, for this inspirational talk. Thank you. I'll release you right now before Nijo continues frowning with me. I'll release you right now so you can join others in the Zoom meeting. It was an amazing time with you. It is one of those pre-draft shows that nobody wants it to end, but it's got to end because we've got to get down to business. Thank you very much. See you shortly in the Zoom meeting. Fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen, I told you he was a man with a gigantic voice, a man of proverbs, a man of inspiration, and he is the leader of the Bui County in spite of the witch hunting that's coming in from Yaoundé and the evil mechanization from enablers and blacklegs from within. He is able to coordinate what you've heard and seen today. And we think that what you need to do, like Dr. Patience Abiodu says, it is your civic duty. Civic duty means a responsibility you cannot say no to draft and to draft for these boys who have drafted their lives. It was a time that I thought that we should extrapolate it. But since we want you to go give your money now, we're going to pause the show at this level. After this break, we will be getting back with the ladies that will conclude the program. So stay right there and wait for us.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia. Connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.
All right, fellow Ambazonians, it's been a great time here. We've learned a lot from the Bui coordinator who was our guest tonight, and we've learned a lot about the Bui culture. Of course, we must keep emphasizing on the need to draft. We must keep emphasizing.
Yeah.
Now, peace is going to come. Light will definitely come, but we must do our bit to ensure we attract the peace and the light that we desire. When they ask the question, what have you done? What would be your answer? What have you done? Star, you want to say something?
I mean, there is no peace without justice, and that's why Ambazonians need to draft and draft and draft so that Ambazonia can be free. You've heard the ARFs from different counties say they've drafted with their lives. And like my co-anchor here will ask you, what have you done? What have you drafted with? What have you drafted with? I mean, we've come to the end of this particular segment, and it was really, really educational. I mean, you must have learned a thing or two from the whole geography and population we gave to you about Bui County, and definitely from the coordinator of also Bui County. You must have learned a thing or two.
All right, and this is where we draw the curtain on tonight's Undaunted, which is a recap and pre-draft show for Bui. Keep a date with us on Monday for a full Undaunted news bulletin. I am Oni Opala.
And I am Star Smart. We'll leave you with ABC Amber TV images. Good night. Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort, while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Ambazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.